This is a Tetrafolium takeover. That's right. Zetts has given me access to his channel now, so I can post whatever I want. And what I want to post today is this replay here from Old Money 2, which is one of the circuit tours that's going on right now. People who win this will get a lot of points in order to be invited to invitationals. And I picked this one because a good friend of the server, Zetts calls him r/Butterfree, but it's actually b/utterfree. Playing against a gamer that I'm not very aware of, Vreeze. Sorry if I don't have all the callous type of introduction here that gives you all the context going into this, but let's see what happens here. I'm wondering what team Butterfree is going to bring here. Lead Tyranitar versus Lead Zapdos, one of the most common lead matchups in the format. And we're going to see a substitute from Tyranitar. So this could be a Boatar or a Viltar. With Focus Punch, it could be either one. But that does a decent chunk, probably a high attack investment, Tyranitar. And takes a Surf for 50%. Rock Slide, a mere 25. We're going to see if Butterfree switches, and they do, to a Cloyster. Interesting. So, probably going to get some Spikes up here, or maybe an aggressive Explosion, but Spikes is very sensible. No need to sack the entire Cloyster just yet. Lead Zapdos sometimes has HP Ice, so may not have a move to hit the Swampert. And that's what Butterfree is banking on here. It seems to pay off, gets an Ice Beam into the Blissey for not very much chip. Earthquake doing 36, but the Blissey reveals Calm Mind. And a critical hit simply takes out the Blissey. Hard to know how difficult this matchup would have been had the Blissey gotten any further. I assume that Cloyster at least would have forced it out. In any case, Butterfree's simply going to Earthquake into the resting Suicune. Probably a defensive Suicune based on damage. No Sleep Talk. Last move is either going to be Roar or Ice Beam, my prediction. And Cloyster gets 3 layers of spikes. This is not very common. Cloyster is a Pokemon with very low longevity, not able to do much. And Cloyster booms into Banette. Banette is not a very common ghost type in this generation. Although it has put in some amount of work if you're familiar with Jimothy Cool. Jimothy Cool's got an interesting team with Banette. I think the team was built by Colin, though. In any case, Banette is not long for this world. One of the unfortunate drawbacks of Banette is that it's Spikes weak. You wouldn't have to worry about that if you were using Gengar or Misdreavus. But those two don't have quite the attack stat that Banette does. Sub-Salac Arrow goes down to Suicune, gives an opportunity for Gengar to come in. Presumably Thunderbolt would finish off the Suicune at that range. And Suicune is dead. Spikes plus Sand is going to absolutely destroy it. And Hypnosis lands on the Zapdos. That is very, very bad. Might not have Ice Punch on the Gengar, though. You would think that Gengar would stay in to punch the Zapdos if given the opportunity. And Zapdos is asleep for many turns. Tyranitar misses a Rock Slide. Zapdos will finally wake up and take a Rock Slide for 10 million%. Gyarados is the switch. This is looking kind of tough. Okay, Zapdos. Interesting structure from Butterfree. It almost looks like it's like almost El Clasico, but there's a Cloyster instead of Skarmory. Interesting. And Gyarados is going to reveal HP Flying and not be able to do much of anything to the Zapdos and simply concedes. Interesting team from Vreeze. I like the Lead Zapdos, Suicune, Blissey, Gyarados kind of idea. I think that a Spiker would be nice to pair with your Ghost type. Hard to know if that was what was in the back for Vreeze. but that is it's something that we will never know. Going to change the music as we get on to the next battle. We're in a FireRed kind of mood today. LeafGreen, FireRed. Which game did you guys play? Comment down below. Let's get some engagement for our good buddy Zetts, who really, really needs it. Salamence with, what is this nickname? Nicole Bolus Goober? Probably an homage to Oof Maxima, who is the Goober connoisseur. And lead Zapdos. I believe that we saw a lead Zapdos from Vreeze last game. Claydol is the switch. And we'll see Fortress to take the Psychic. See, Claydol's Psychic does not do very much to Zapdos, and if Zapdos has a hidden power, presumably it does, it will slam into the Claydol, although you have to be cognizant of Boom. We see Magneton come in to trap the Fortress and goes for Thunderbolt. Didn't even have HP Fire. And Fortress gets away with 50% damage taken and a Spike. I think that is a fair trade for the Fortress. In comes Snorlax, presumably the special tank for this team. Takes a Thunder Wave and trades a Body Slam, but no paralysis of its own. Fortress is simply going to come in and spike all the way back up, as Snorlax is going to trade Body Slams. Now, we do have a spinner on Butterfree's team, although it's not always easy to get the spin off, particularly when a team has a ghost type of spin blocker. But we don't see a spin blocker, we see Vileplume, very interesting Pokemon. It is a Pokemon I've used in competitive before, but like Gen 8 RU, not Gen 3 OU, so. Charizard is going to come in and leave just as quickly as Marowak comes in to set up a Swords Dance. Will Marowak be able to break through the +2 Goober? And yes, it does, with a critical hit, of course. Butterfree opting to spin at the cost of the entire Claydol. Goes for simply an HP Grass into the Zapdos, gets a critical hit, and paralyzed. This is a slower Celebi, presumably. Offensive Celebi would tend to run faster than Zapdos, although Zapdos might be timid. Hard to say. This paralysis has been very tough for Butterfree this game. And finally, we're going to see Crystal Goober, who I believe Oof Maxima calls Forehead Goober, which I think is one of the funniest nicknames I've seen. We're going to see a Suicune versus Zapdos duel. Zapdos is going to win in this this variation. Hold on. A Thunder Wave. If Suicune is out of 3-hit KO range, it can rest and get out of here. Okay, Zapdos goes for Roar. Okay, it's kind of over. Although Celebi is what you want to see from Butterfree's side. Hard to break through the Vileplume, though, I would imagine. Unless you have HP Fire. Possibly you could have Psychic. Utility Celebi tends to be able to run 2 moves if you want, although sometimes it opts to run 3 utility moves. Fortress is going to get all 3 layers of spikes back up. And this is kind of the rub with a team like this, is that you may have a spinner, but if you can't eliminate the opponent's spiker, in this case, Magneton was unable to eliminate the Fortress, then the Fortress can simply get all the spikes back up. And yeah, that should be pretty much the end of the game there. Very interesting team from Vreeze, though, with the... Oh, okay, Perish Song Celebi. That's not going to help that much in this situation, but... I like the... as I was saying before, I like the Vileplume idea. I don't know how well it pairs with, say... Marowak. Maybe it's a Stun Spore Vileplume to try to spread some paralysis. Going to roar the boosted Suicune out, and Celebi is not long for this world. I mean, it can certainly stall out. Presumably, its last move is Recover, but it has no. If that's the case, it has no move to hit Vileplume, and Vileplume can simply just come in, Leech Seed, and get all of its health back. If I was Butterfree, I'd probably try to play for a last mon Suicune, although it's really hard to do with a paralyzed Suicune and a full or well, not full, but a healthy enough Zapdos on the other side. Going to go for a Calm Mind, and that should probably spell the end for Suicune, as HP Grass takes it. And we see a forfeit. Okay, like I said, interesting team from Vreeze. Butterfree's team is a little bit more on the standard side, Magdoll. Although, I do wonder if you would prefer to have Sand with this type of structure. I'm not sure though. Definitely not for the Snorlax Suicune endgame, but I digress. We're going to go on to the final battle of this set here. It's of course a best of 3, and we're going to change the music. This has got to be really intense. We're on game 3, fellas. Alright, let's see what the lead is for Butterfree. Notably, not using any of the teams that Butterfree has been known to talk about and paste in the server. I wonder if we're going to see a change here. Lead Zapdos against a Skarmory. Quite good. And a very good Toxic prediction there. I really like that. It's so common that something like a Swampert or a Jolteon would switch into Zapdos. And wow, that Hidden Power does a lot. Probably Hidden Power fighting a mixed Zapdos. Wow, that does a lot to Jolteon, too. We're going to see our own Jolteon from Butterfree. This is a very good situation for Butterfree. We'll see if they'll stay in and risk the Thunder Wave. They do, and get full parried, unfortunately. I wonder if a switch to a ground type would have been astute there. A critical hit and a full paralysis. Vreeze is definitely lucking our friend Butterfree here. And Tyranitar comes into Crunch, simply going to sack the Jolteon, which is sensible. You don't want to let the Tyranitar get a Dragon Dance, if it happened to be a Dragon Dance Tyranitar. Metagross is going to switch versus the Suicune. We're going to see Zapdos come back in. And it had a lot, I think that was a Hidden Power fighting with a lot of attack investment. So we'll see. This Thunderbolt is doing a decent amount to Suicune, at least 2 at KOing, which is definitely fine. Critical hit, not mattering much. And we're going to see Entei. Interesting. I wonder if we'll see Raikou as well. Raikou plus Jolteon would be strange. Seems like an extremely Dug-weak team, if that's the case. But we'll have to see what the last mon is. Gengar going to get some nice chip on the Entei, 33%, as Entei subs up. And yeah, the sub is simply going to break. Entei is not going to be able to sub this turn. Simply going to go for a Flamethrower. And Gengar is going to win this 1v1. Something's telling me that there's not a great switch in for an electric type move on this particular team. Destiny Bond Gengar to remove the Tyranitar. Do we have enough resources to beat the Skarmory though? That's the question. Skarmory's going to reveal Hidden Power, presumably Ground, and Yellow Skarm does not have the sauce to take out the Tyranitar. But last mon Salamence, if this is a DD Mence, it could win the game here. But instead we're going to see Cloyster come in. This team looks very similar to one that I featured on my channel, actually. Just with Metagross instead of Steelix, which I think is... but it's probably better to have Metagross, I'm not going to lie, but I don't know, I'm a believer in Steelix. But yeah, this is an interesting set. Vreeze brought some strange teams. Was there a featured, how do we say, a featured shipmon on every team? Yeah, it looks like there was. And, you know, sometimes it's hard to prep for those, and they can get some value, but, you know, also, sometimes they're not OU for a reason, and I'm not saying, you know, stifle your creativity, but it is harder to win with mons that are not ranked, you know what I mean? That being said, well played by Butterfree. There were some moments, maybe in the first game, no, some really nice moments in the first game. The Cloister explosion into the Bennett was a little bit unfortunate, but totally reasonable, I think. Yeah, this team kind of smashed, especially with not having the HP Fire on Magneton. I'm a big proponent of HP Fire on Magneton, because as much as I like to disrespect Fortress, it is a difficult Pokemon to eliminate if you have a Spike Sweep team. And, you know, finally this was a fine game here with the Cloister Jolt Spikes. I like that. So, well done to Butterfree. This has been the Tetrafolium takeover of Zetts' channel, while Zetts is off in Italy or Latvia or whatever country he's in. And maybe we'll do this again sometime.